Don't upgrade your Pixel 7 Pro straight away. You might be better off holding on to it. So let's talk about that. It's been a year since Google released the 7 Pro, and since then we've had new Pixels, new iPhones, new Galaxies, and if I'm honest, not a huge amount has actually changed. Iterative is the word I'd use to describe this generation of flagships, and while that's not necessarily a bad thing, it does mean that the ever-present fear of missing out is less so, and there's value to be had in these year-old devices, whether you already have them or you're getting them from pre-loved stores. I spent a little under a week with the Pixel 7 Pro right off the back of my time with the Pixel 6 Pro, and the improvements that Google have made with this jump are clear. The Pixel 7 Pro has held up so much better than the 6 Pro, thanks to Google having learnt from its previous device. The 7 Pro felt more polished, more refined, and had important quality of life improvements that helped the thing feel less like a first go of things and more like a product that I could actually recommend. The main improvements I found were in cell signal quality, battery life and performance. Don't get it twisted, these things still aren't the level of the Pixel 7 Pro's competitors of the time. The Tensor G2, which was Google's second go at its own SoC, was and is still better than the previous version. I had a pretty smooth experience when it came to the signal quality here in the UK, and there was a noticeable jump in battery life going from the 6 Pro to the 7 Pro. But you do feel the phone getting hot still, especially when gaming and watching content, and the G2's graphics grunt just can't really match that of Apple's Bionic or Qualcomm Snapdragon chips. This means that whilst you can quite easily game on the Pixel 7 Pro, it's going to hitch and lag a few more times where its competitors wouldn't, and the battery depletes considerably quicker too. It's quite a similar story compared to the Pixel 6 Pro, just kind of improved. This is an all-day phone for me, someone who browses social media and streams music for about half an hour per day on around 50 to 75% brightness on average. It's pretty good, but the second you boot up Genshin or Real Racing, you'll be very quickly reaching for the charger. But what I can say is that day to day, I never felt like I was using out-of-date hardware, and I never felt held back by the Pixel 7 Pro. I never felt like I needed an upgrade in that regard, and it really was only the heat that really surprised me. I mean, this thing does get very toasty, I can't mention that enough. Great for wintertime in the UK though. All the little bits like speaker quality, haptics, button feel, fit and finish, and the unlock times are all still very good, meaning that the phone still feels like a flagship. And that shouldn't come as a surprise because it's only been 12 months, but I think many people get sucked into that yearly upgrade cycle when they really don't need to. The Pixel 7 Pro is a good example of this. That said, there are two distinct upgrades that the Pixel 8 Pro brings to the table. The way brighter display and the more fleshed out camera system, and I want to dive into the latter first. As you probably know by now, Google's camera magic is pretty much entirely software, and so given that the 7 Pro and the newly released 8 Pro have very similar camera hardware on paper, aside from that new fancy ultra-wide, you'd expect Google to put out a software update to keep last gen phones up to speed. That does not look like it's going to be the case, or at least not for now. Given the company has deliberately left out Pixel 8 Pro camera features on the regular Pixel 8 despite the same hardware, I would be quite surprised if the Pixel 7 Pro got these features at all. So while you may get some of these camera features on the 7 Pro, don't count on it, or at least you might need to sideload them yourself. That being said, I wouldn't rule out the 7 Pro when it comes to the cameras because this phone hasn't lost any of its quality since release. Sure, the newer phone is more capable, but the 7 Pro still takes amazing photos in all kinds of lighting scenarios. Whether you're using portrait mode, night mode, magic eraser, whether you're using any of the different cameras and lenses, the Pixel 7 Pro remains one of the best point and shoot packages, it just no longer holds the actual crown. It still has those useful modes like magic eraser, long exposure, and moving subject detection. So it's still a super useful and powerful camera to have in your pocket at all times. I love the Pixel 7 Pro's natural contrast and skin tones, and there's a charm to the images that some other systems lack. I haven't noticed a significant improvement in the setup's ability to match skin tones and white balance across the 3 different cameras on the back, and that is an issue that has been lingering for the past couple of generations now. It's not a deal breaker by any means, as you can still adjust a lot of this stuff in Google's intuitive camera app, but it is something that needs to be addressed going forward if they want to be taken seriously, and especially when comparing it directly to the new iPhones that have great consistency across the back of the lenses. The main reason you might be considering upgrading to the Pixel 8 Pro is the screen. It's simply another league to the 7 Pro. At almost double the brightness output, it can read in light where the Pixel 7 Pro looks washed out. It's not like the 7 Pro screen's bad by any means, it's still a big, bright and sharp display with 120Hz refresh rate, so you won't feel hard done by it, but it is a key reason to upgrade because there is such a difference. But even if you don't care about that, the tipping point for a lot of people is going to be the software. You might be thinking, right, what are you talking about? They both run Pixel Experience, and well, it's a little bit complicated. Firstly, Google is offering software updates for a promised 7 years with the new 8 Pro, which takes it all the way to 2030, whereas the 7 Pro, you'll only get them till 2027, which is only 4 years away, so that's just over half the time. That alone will be enough to convince many to make the jump. But also, Google is being a little bit cagey with its camera features on the newer models, meaning that despite running the same OS and very similar hardware, there are going to be some things that you'll get on the new phone that you probably won't get on the old phone, or if you do, it will take a lot longer to get them. And that's a little bit annoying, especially as the Pixels are known for their great software. It's one of the big draws to the Pixel. It seems strange to not go for the newer model if you're really interested in the software features. But unless you want those cutting edge features, software updates and that mega screen, I'm not really sure it's worth upgrading if you already have a 7 Pro. It still has all the bells and whistles that it released with, but with new feature drops still being delivered, it can only really get better, at least on the software side of things. The device still feels and looks fantastic, the performance and displays might not be top of the charts, but they're still very respectable, and the cameras are still amazing and will wow you on occasions. Battery life and processor cooling can leave a little bit to be desired, but if you're not a heavy gamer, it's really not too bad, and I think if you're on the 7, you're going to want to wait until the next Pixel for Google's Pixel 9 to make a bigger jump and to get something a little bit more worth your money. That said, if you have the 6 or below, by all means go for the 8 Pro, it looks outstanding. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Pixel 7 Pro. Are you an owner? Are you getting one on the cheap, or have you found a great deal and are looking for some opinions? Let me know in the comments. And that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas with Android Police, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.